A few weeks ago we took a look at, or more accurately a listen to, the ARMSID. This is a modern replacement for the 6581 and 8580 sound chips found in the Commodore 64, and while it did perform rather well, there were a couple of noticeable issues. In particular, the intro music from Bubble Bobble had a clicking sound throughout it. And some of you felt that the sound generated perhaps wasn't as full as what you would get from the original chip. Since releasing that video, there's been an update to the firmware, and one of the features of this chip is that it allows us to update that firmware from within the Commodore 64. So in this week's video, we're going to try and update that firmware. We'll take a quick look at the configuration program, and some of you wanted to hear how this chip handles samples, so let's put that to the test also. So if we're going to update the ARMSID, we're going to need to download some stuff. So we'll just jump online to the official website, and down here under firmware we can download the latest version, firmware 2.11. And while we're at it, let's download that configuration utility, and we'll have a bit of a play about with that as well. So ACID 211 is the firmware, and ACID _T 211 is the configuration program. We then just need to create a D64 disk image, and for that I use disk imagery 64. This is very simple to use. Let's just create a new image. There's the files we downloaded, and you just drag them across. And because I'll forget what is what, let's just rename that to firmware. And rename that one utility. And we'll save it as ARMSID. Right, I'll copy that onto the SD card, and let's see if we can update the firmware. So we've got everything we need now on the SD card. Let's see about getting this firmware updated. So the D64 disk image that we created, I put in here. There it is, ARMSID. And it's the firmware that we want to update. Right, ARMSID found at that address. Firmware version is 2.10. We're going to update to 2.11. Are we ready to update? Why not? Okay, there we are. Firmware version is now 2.11, and notice that it's saying the emulated device is now the 85XX, presumably 8580, whereas previously it was the 6581. Interesting. Let's just reset the machine here, and if we load the utility this time, I just want to see if it is still emulating the 8580 or if it's changed over to the 6581 that you would expect it to in this bread bin. Yep, that's fine then. So emulated device there is 65XX, which is obviously our 6581. That's pretty cool that it gives us a voltage readout. 11.74 ish Pretty good. Right, we're not going to do anything with this utility just yet. I want to check out if this has fixed the issue in Bubble Bobble. Okay, here we go. Is it going to be fixed? Why was I even doubting it? Sounds awesome. That popping or clicking sound is gone. So I think we should now take a listen to some audio that uses samples. And just like last time, we're going to compare the ARMSID to the original 6581 and the later 8580. These samples are all very short, so we'll just listen to them in quick succession. And the first sample we're going to listen to is from the game Impossible Mission.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever. Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever. Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever. Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
Well, the ARMSID did play back the samples in both 6581 and 8580 emulation. The tone is slightly different though between the ARMSID and the original chips, but it is very minor, and I dare say if you weren't listening to them side by side like this, I don't think you'd notice any difference. Next audio sample then is from the game The Last V8. This is a bit of a scratchy mess, but it is an audio sample nonetheless. Let's see how it plays back.
V8 returns to base immediately. V8 returns to base immediately. V8 returns to base immediately. V8 returns to base immediately.
All sounds very similar to me. Of course, it could be the fact that it is very nearly 1 AM and I am absolutely knackered, but it does sound very similar. And then the last game sample we're going to listen to is from Ghostbusters. Ha 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 ha!
Ghostbusters! Ghostbusters!
Other than a rather obvious volume difference between the 8580 and the 6581, I don't really hear anything different. So as far as the ARMSID is concerned, it certainly appears to play back samples fine. I thought what we'd do now is have a bit of a play with this utility. Some people in the last video thought that the sound generated by the ARMSID just wasn't as clean or as bright or as lively, or whatever way you want to put it. It was just slightly different to that of the original chip. So Let's press E here to get into the extended menu. And you can see for the 6581 we have two options we can set. So filter strength and lowest filter frequency. There is a total of 14 steps for filter strength. So what should we do? Let's see about increasing it slightly. So that's 3 steps up. And then for lowest filter frequency, let's reduce that slightly, I think. Oh, wrong way. There only is the 3 steps actually here, so just the 150, 215 or 310. Let's set it down at 150, see what that does. We can hit save, which just saves it temporarily. So when you power cycle, the settings will revert. Or we can hit P for permanently, which will write it onto the ARMSID. Let's see if that's made any difference to how this chip sounds. So we're just going to try this with Donkey Kong again, purely because I'm feeling lazy and I already have this all recorded from the last video. And well, the tune is pretty awesome. Right, that sounds absolutely awful. I'm going to go and have a play with all the settings to see if I can't make it sound better. So after much mucking about with this, I think these are the best settings for the 6581. The filter strength is set to average, just as the chip comes. So we have it turned down 4 settings, and then the lowest filter frequency, just leave that as it is at 215. I really can't hear much difference in changing this lowest filter frequency between 150, 215 and 310, which is why I'm saying just to leave it in the middle. Now it could just be my ears and the 20 plus years of listening to overly loud electronic music might have taken the edge off them, shall we say. But for me, I don't hear much difference there. You might, and I think everyone that owns an ARMSID probably will want to have a bit of a play with this utility just to get their chip sounding how they like it. So let's just test this out with Donkey Kong again quickly, comparing the new settings of the ARMSID against the old settings and of course against the original 6581. Well, personally, I think it does sound better with those settings, but it really is up to everyone who owns an ARMSID to tweak it to their own personal preference. All in all, I think the ARMSID does a really good job, and I know some people will disagree with that. So I thought what we could do is a bit of a blind test here. Let's put this wee ARMSID to the Pepsi Max challenge. So what is this Pepsi Max challenge nonsense that I'm talking about? Well, what I'm going to do is play back music I've recorded from the game Lazy Jones. It's going to be played back twice. One of the recordings is using the ARMSID, the other is using the 6581. I've labelled them A and B, and I want you to tell me in the comment section below which is which. We'll give it 1 week, and then I'll put a pinned comment into this video with the answer. So which one do you think is the ARMSID, and which one do you think is the 6581? Oh, and bonus points if you can tell me which song from 1999 sampled this music. Well, there we have it, the ARMSID. I still think it is a really good option if you need a replacement SID chip for your Commodore 64. Really hard to look past this little chip. The development of it is still active, as we've seen. Even in the last few weeks there's been an update to sort out that issue with Bubble Bobble, which is absolutely fantastic. So we can only assume that there will be further updates in the future addressing any other problems that may arise. Well, that's pretty much it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, as it does help the channel. Why not consider subscribing if you haven't done so already? And remember to let me know in the comment section below for our ARMSID challenge. Was it A or B? Which one was the ARMSID and which one was the 6581? I'll put the answer to that into the comments in a week's time. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.